Welcome to our 14th podcast titled Champions of Hope and Leadership. I am Ben Kirby, Superintendent of Lake Orion Community Schools. The inspiration for this podcast comes from the amazing people that have shaped me, inspired me, and given me hope as I have navigated my career as an educator. And more importantly, the people who I have witnessed be champions of hope and leadership for the tens of thousands of students and adults that I have crossed paths with throughout my life. Today on this episode, we have Mr. Nick Shaskos. Nick is definitely a champion of hope. He's a veteran teacher with us at Oakview Middle School here at Lake Orion Community Schools, where he is seen as a tremendous advocate for our Dragons and a leader among the staff. As a teacher, he is truly a champion of hope. Because of his impact, he was selected as the Middle School Teacher of the Year for Lake Orion Community Schools. Mr. Shaskos, thank you for being here.
No, thanks for having me.
I know it was probably a rush to get over here, and we definitely appreciate that, but just tell us a little bit what it feels like to be recognized as the Middle School Teacher of the Year here at Lake Orion Community Schools, where we have three different middle schools.
Well, I can tell you that it was a surprise, I guess. Something I really never expected or strived for, I guess you could say. So when I saw my family in the cafeteria, I know how this works. I've been around long enough.
Right. You're like,
when you see your family, I know what's coming next. So, I'm not one for the limelight or the spotlight.
Right.
So that's why I kind of ran away from that situation.
Yeah, that was definitely a good day. I do remember. I think wife, son, and daughter, right?
Yeah.
And all three of them were able to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really special and really nice. Do you know the process that happens in order for you to be the teacher?
Not completely, no.
Okay. All right. It's the big mystery. I don't know exactly, and it's probably not 100% the same everywhere, every time. But ultimately, it's about staff, it's about parents, and it's about students. And they nominate, they say their piece about the different staff members and so on. And then there's a decision made based on all the letters of support for that particular year, and the decision is made. So that celebration at Oakview, you talked about some special people that came. What else do you remember about it? Is there anything in particular that stands out to you that was fun, embarrassing, wish wouldn't have happened?
The speech part of it, I'm not one to be, like I said, out in the limelight. So being put on the spot, I think I emailed Mark today and said, "What's he going to ask me so I can be prepared?"
Right. Yeah.
So that's not always a comfortable situation for me to be in. Growing up, I was actually I was borderline maybe phobia for public speaking, and it's funny now that I'm in this position. So, talking to kids is one thing, but talking to a room full of adults is something completely different.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that you're probably one that doesn't love talking in front of adults, but you can do it with kids all day long. Yeah, for sure. So did you, were you ever informed as to who nominated you?
No, I don't know. I know one parent that did, because she told me when we were at Top Golf at our field trip to Top Golf.
Okay.
So we had a conversation, and she told me that she nominated me, which it's flattering.
Yeah,
It's something you don't expect.
Yeah, and certainly when it comes from parents and students, I mean, ultimately that's who you're working to impact as the students, and you certainly have been a champion of hope for many. So you've heard me talk about champions of hope at our staff welcome back and in other communications. Just wondered, for you as an educator, what does that mean to you in your role as a teacher when you hear champions of hope?
For me, it is inspiring kids to learn about who they are. I talked about myself and being phobic of public speaking. So, you learn about yourself as you get older. So, I tell those stories with the kids. I share that with the kids that, you do have these traits in you. You just need to figure out who you are. And I encourage them to try different things. And if you don't think you're good at theater, well, just try it, and then you can at least say that you've done it.
Then
and right? So that's one of my big messages that I always talk to my kids about in class is being able to, find yourself and who you are.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you're right. Everybody's unique. Would you see yourself as an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, I'm introverted for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I wondered when you were saying those things. I am as well.
Yeah.
When you do all
You
these
shared
different
that.
tests.
You've shared that with us too.
Yeah, but you just get to that point where you have to be in your shadow a little bit in certain avenues, and this is one of them, right? So
right.
I appreciate you being here. So, tell us a little bit about your journey that brought you into education.
Oh, geez. It was never really planned, but there was a plan, I guess, right? Because I lifeguarded for 11 years,
Mm-hmm.
and through that I taught swim lessons.
Okay.
Um,
All ages or certain ages?
Usually the little ones.
Okay.
The little ones,
Okay.
and it's so rewarding to see those kids afraid to even get into the pool,
bet,
and then like putting their heads underwater and then swimming a whole 25 yards into the deep end, and it was amazing seeing them, conquering their fears
Right.
of getting in that water, and me being able to, it's almost a little, a proud moment for yourself, right?
Like we did it.
Because we did, I helped them do that. And that I think sums up teaching in general. It's,
Mhm.
It's that gets those feel good moments, and it's difficult at times, but you get those moments and you feel good about what you do. So
Yeah, great. So you got this itch, so to speak. Well, you can get a lot of itches in a pool, but the itch to teach from the pool. Where did you go from there?
Well, I got a job. I graduated from college with a degree in psychology. And I was kind of, a rudderless ship in college, not really knowing what I was going to do. And psychology came easy for me, so
all right.
it seemed to be the route to go. And then I got a job right out of college, which had nothing to do with psychology. It was I worked for a fitness company.
Oh, okay. All right.
For a few years, and then they went bankrupt. And then
Wasn't because of you or anything, right?
No.
Just wanted to be
No.
clear. It was a segue. So
Wasn't
just wanted to
me.
be clear. All right.
Wasn't me. And then they went under, and I was still teaching swim lessons after I would go to work, and I looked at my wife and said, I think I want to go back to school. I want to go back and get my teaching certificate, and I poured it on, and I got 40 hours in a year and a half, and got my teaching certificate, and we moved out this way from Dearborn, and the rest was history.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
So when you were in the fitness world, did anybody ever think you were rock? You do have a resemblance of rock.
Rock, I still do. I still get it.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
All right, well, go with it. Go
Yeah,
with it.
oh,
That's
I'm going
fun.
for it.
That guy, I don't know. He's like if you were in the market for pets, like that never goes bad, and he's always popular. He's always in the middle of everything. So, okay, so where'd you start teaching? Was it always in Lake Orion?
Yeah. I started at Walden.
Okay.
With Dan Hunter. He was a reservist, and he was activated for 2 years. I was his long-term sub.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And at that time, you worked 150, I think, days in the district, and they had to offer you a position. So that's
you earned that position. You earned that. I'm sure.
I'm sure if I had an interview, I would have I would have bombed it. But and that's how I got in.
Yeah, you had a 150-day interview, and you did very well, obviously, because you're a dragon ever since. So, and Dan is just an amazing man, and I'm sure you got to know him as you moved into the profession.
Yeah, and it was funny because I recognized him because I had a college class with him.
Oh, no kidding.
One or two, but we never. I mean, we talked, but we were never friends, but we knew each other just from sight. So when I walked in to do that interview for that position, and he was there, it was. Immediately the air went out of the room, and it became really comfortable in a conversation at that point. So
good. So what's something great about teaching that you could share with those that are aspiring educators?
Beyond, feeling good and getting those kids on board with you, it's just sharing. For me, it's sharing that knowledge, right? It's sharing what you're passionate about. And for me, it's science. Science is it's how the world works. It's every day. It's in your life. Everything we have in the studio right now is science. Is because science. So being able to share your knowledge with kids, I think is really what's important to me, and as well as talking to them and building those relationships and telling them to try new things, and because now is the time to do that, right? Living the life. I try to tell my kids that it's, you're a parent first, then you become a coach, right? In their life.
Yeah, for sure.
And my kids are just starting to realize that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Especially my son, he's coming to me more and more and asking me about, advice and I said, what did you think? He had a recent interview.
Okay.
And I said he was a little nervous, so I gave him a little script.
Okay.
And I said, here's what you'll call, the receptionist will answer, and if he's not there, she'll probably say this. And he was like, Dad, you were right. She hit that. She said everything you were gonna say. It's like he said, you lived it, and you know exactly what's gonna happen. So, being that coach in a kid's life is important too. And I think that's where, teaching. You hear everybody say you're a coach, you're a nurse,
right,
you're a mom, you're a dad, and
all those things.
All those things, right? So, to me, those are the things that are important.
Yeah, kids realize their parents are smarter as they get older because the kids realize, they did know what they were talking about. So you talked a little bit about, you started really talking about the knowledge and science, and it is something that a lot of kids really get inspired through that content area. But then you hit on relationships And, we're going to talk at the retirement. We're going to celebrate some retirees. But the thing that's going to stand out in your legacy, as well as many other educators, is the strong relationships that you've made with kids throughout your career. One of the things that you're known for is costumes. I've seen some photos. Some made me smile. Some made me belly laugh. So tell me a little bit about the history of the costumes. What's the motivation?
Halloween is my favorite. I don't know if you want to call it a holiday, but time of year. It's a time you can not be yourself, I guess. So to me, and it's humor. The kids come in and they see you because we're at Oakview. We're downstairs in 6th grade, so they walk down the stairs and the first thing they see is you standing there, and I like to get a laugh out of them, especially first thing in the morning. And then it just makes the day fun, and having fun at work is really important.
Yeah,
and laughing.
For sure.
And
what's the favorite costume? Yeah,
I dressed up as a werewolf one time. It was pretty realistic. And at that time, John Blackstock worked at Oakview, and he came down the stairs, and I was sitting there just drumming. I had these big wolf fingernails on, and I just drumming the top of the locker.
Oh boy!
And he came down, and I frightened him quite a bit.
He's not necessarily a guy you want frightened coming at you. That
was
something.
A good moment. That was a good costume. It was very involved getting dressed, but
I bet.
Yeah, it took a while. But
I'll have to ask Coach Blackstock about that.
We'll see if he remembers.
Yeah, I'm sure the video footage is gone. That's too bad. That is too bad.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that you interact with students outside of the classroom? I know you do a lot of really engaging things in the classroom, but you do much more than that for our students.
Yeah, I try to do whatever clubs I can, at school with gap clubs. And, there's mountain biking. Mountain biking is big in my life. So, that started when I moved to Oakview from Walden.
Okay.
Because we have Addison Oaks, the county park there, and we have Bald Mountain state land right across the street. So every day after school, I would go and take my bike, then go mountain biking across the street. So I had an idea that I'm going to put a gap club together and see if any kids want to go bike riding with me. And sure enough, the first year we had 2 kids and one on a BMX bike, and it was sleeting in April, and got back. I did not have fun, but those kids had a blast. Yeah. And to me, seeing that on their face was amazing. So from there, kept it going. We got 10 kids the next year. One year we had 24 kids just at Oakview. And that kind of planted a little seed for me. If I can get 24 kids to ride bikes in one middle school,
right?
And we have 3 middle schools, that's 75 kids that would be in a gap club. So, my kids were little at the time, and I planted the seed to go district wide with it and see where it goes. So, the kids were little at the time, and I knew it would be a really involved process to do. So I kind of put it on the back burner for a long time. And, 2017, the kids were old enough, self-sufficient. So I put the wheels in motion. I had a lot of help from parents. I'm a good idea man, but
okay, you got to follow through.
Putting it in play. I need some help. So, I had a meeting on the football field, kind of just a makeshift thing sent out there, kind of advertised it a little bit. And I had, 25 kids that first year on the team. And then ever since then, we've grown and grown and grown. And then the team turned into, 112 registered mountain bike racers. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can say without a doubt that it is the most involved parent volunteer sport that we have. We have 40 parent coaches.
Wow.
That all have to be fingerprinted and CPR certified and mountain bike trained. And when you get dedication like that from parents, I mean, this community is amazing. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I may be way off. When I went to my first Rotary meeting, we were talking about fundraisers and doing some different things, and you actually came up. It was in my first year or second year, but we were just talking about fundraisers, and there's people riding bikes everywhere, in our community and down the paths and all that, and I just never really understood and actually challenged the club to think about doing something around biking, whether it was a road, the road race, the road rallies. There's a lot of different things, but yeah, you definitely have inspired a lot of people to be riding bikes. That is for sure. So I guess that's why living is a vacation.
It is living is a vacation.
It's go ride our bikes.
All right.
So as you were growing up, did you have any teachers that were champions of hope for you that really lit fires under you?
It's a good question. I had a lot of great teachers. I didn't have that one that really inspired me. A lot of just my third grade teacher is the one that pops into my mind, and just kindness and the way he treated students was really stuck with me. And I think, I take a little bit of that, Mr. Solak, my third grade teacher, with me when I deal with my kids in class, and just to be kind and listen to them.
Yeah.
From that respect. So.
Yeah, and that goes a long ways, and that certainly is. Those are the teachers that students remember. Whether I was a high school principal or whatever my role was, whenever we talk with students about any level of school, they always came back to that teacher that helped them have memorable moments, and that really comes down to relationships. And as you talked a little bit about, but being willing to do some things outside of yourself, and so good. Well, thank you for your inspiring work that you're doing with our students. We thank your wife, Jamie, and your children, Noah, who's, I believe, a graduate this year.
Graduated, yeah, and unbelievable.
Also, Lauren, class of 26, for sharing you with the Dragon Nation. You're a true champion of hope for our students and staff, and we really appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for listening today and over the past 2 school years. This is my final podcast as the superintendent of Lake Orion Community Schools. It has truly been a pleasure to bring the tremendous difference makers in our proud community. As always, I challenge our listeners to be that champion of hope for somebody. Anybody. Go Dragons.